Morning miners, this is Packrat as always, and welcome to a small series that I'll be doing every once in a while. This is called Packrat's Back Catch. It's just a small series of stuff that is just things that I've done before. It's older stuff, but it's not only just stuff that I've built, it's older stuff that I've played and stuff like that. I actually have a plan to do a video of a game that I really love that didn't receive enough attention, but I digress. That's future stuff. That's what's going to happen later on in this series. But right now, I'm just going to show you something in my tester world. Now, you guys have seen this world. This is where I was doing stuff like the zombies testing. You saw that. It's also where I experimented with the bread maker to try and get that to function well enough to use on the SMP server. This is also where I did TNT testing for VB's Big Boom. That's where a lot of these pits came from too. I just filled them in because I thought it would look better, and then I left them filled in because it kills the slimes every once in a while. There's also a few other experiments that you haven't seen yet. This is actually something that I'm going to be working on in my next video probably. But that's not what we're showing here today. What we're showing here today is something that you guys have seen in many of my videos and been asking about it. So here we're going to show you guys the Parthenon. This is actually a build that actually before we start with this, I'm gonna do something that's probably gonna crash my Minecraft, but I thought I'd give you guys a better look at this because this thing is so large that it actually renders out of distance. So yeah, give it a minute. And this is actually going to reload as soon as I cross a certain border. The thing is that there's a region border like right there. It's very annoying. And I actually had to install single player commands just so I could show this to you guys properly. And let's go ahead and turn this on. This is just to give you an idea of how large this thing actually is. One of the reasons I actually installed single player commands is because I did this before, and let's just say that you don't move fast enough on this thing. Okay, so this is 1008 right here. Okay, we're gonna go up. Well, actually, while I'm going, I can show you guys the side of this. If you guys can figure out what this says, congratulations. 5 internet points for you, because there's no way you're going to figure out what this is. This is obviously not in English, but it does say a pretty cool message. It's just a difficult one to figure out. Okay, so that's that. And now we're going to go to the other border. Right. I think it's right here. Right? No, it is this one. Okay. So that'd be -847 and 2350, which means this is about a little under 200 wide and what was that, 1,000 long? No, 1,300 long. So this is something that I built. Now, I didn't build it alone. I actually built this on a server. This is on discover.us back when, right after it was actually popular. I built this with 3 other guys, Quiet is Dead, Tassatus, and Psychosocial. Oh, hold together. Oh. Yeah, I told you this is going to make my thing run real slow, because there's a lot for it to render right now. Hold on. Let's see. I'm going to have to turn the render distance back down. That's just not working. Come on, baby. You can do this. Okay, here we are back again. I put the render distance back at normal. Obviously, this thing causes a little bit of lag. What you might have seen is I had some detailing in here. There's some spider webs inside the walls. Basically just did that for the fun of it. So I might as well answer that question now. But anyways, this was built with me, Tassatus, Quiet is Dead, and Psychosocial. Us 4 put the sucker together. It was actually started by Psychosocial and Tassatus. Tassatus was basically the architect. He started designing this thing. And I just kind of wandered in one day and decided to help them start building it. They were actually starting to dig out the area to put this thing in by hand. It was actually about 20 blocks above the bottom of the map. So they had to dig down about 40 blocks. And we pretty much did it by hand. So until a mod came along and decided to make it easier on us. So let's start with the lesser rooms. And Like I said, one of the only reasons why I even had to install single-player commands was because of just how big this thing is. It takes forever to fly through all this stuff. This is the Treasury Room. It's the Backroom. If you notice, the detailing on the ceiling is something that I put a lot of work into. So make sure you guys are paying attention to that. That's snow blocks on top with a glowstone next to it, so the glowstone will light up the snow blocks while it's on the ground. And if you ever see pictures of the oh jeez, okay, don't need him nearby. This is going to mess with my sound. One of the things that they used to make this thing was to come up with the design for this was there's a imitation Parthenon in Texas, I believe, or Nashville. And they use that to help design how this one is supposed to look. And if you ever look at pictures of it, this is exactly how we tried to imitate them exactly as best as we could. And every one of these ceiling patterns is as close as you can possibly get. Same thing with the pillar, same thing with everything. We got everything as close to accurate as possible. But one of the weird things, and I love these pillars, by the way. I put a lot of detail work into these things. And evidently never finished that one. Yeah, I'll have to come back and finish that sometime. But that's another thing. I never did finish this project, and I'll show you why a little bit later on. Just let me finish showing you guys around first. But I put a lot of detail work into these things, and I thought that they came out really good. It's kind of funny when you work on a project like this. You start to learn. We had to learn so much about what pillars are and all the different things for them, because we had to communicate with each other, like what everything is that we're doing, like things like the metopy and the flute and the fillet and the drum and the neck, and if it's a Doric, a conic, or a Corinthian style, and the molding. I mean, there's so many different terms for putting stone pillars in things. It's ridiculous. There's a header, a footer. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I could tell you I don't remember any of it because I just read all that stuff off of a piece of paper. So, I mean, I learned it, but I didn't learn it for very long. Yeah, this is one of the other things. The doors are actually replicated on both sides, and I really liked how these ones came out. They look really cool. The original design for the doors was actually kind of derpy, and that looks a lot better. Another thing you can look at while we're out here is these are actually different on both sides. On the other side, it says fight and build, and this side says build and fight. We actually had to cut down, well, I actually had to cut down on the middle word because you just couldn't get it spaced out right when you're doing this. I also came up with this design. I looked these up and put this all together, and I really love how that looks. When you get backed up a little bit, especially at nighttime, because the glow on that thing is incredible. It makes everything has all of these have glowstone behind it, and that all glows. And this doesn't, but it's not supposed to. But it does have a nice 3D effect to it. So, all right, so that's this. Let's just take a look at the ceiling pattern over here. One of the things I really didn't like about this project is how much glowstone we had to use for everything. We had to use glowstone because of lighting issues, but it gives a really weird outline look to everything you're looking at. And now that I'm in single-player commands, I wish I could just tell it get rid of all the glowstone so we can see everything now, because it just distracts now if you're looking at it. But okay, so if you're taking a look at this, keep an eye on how many pillars there are. I believe there's 44 pillars on the exterior or something like that, and these were all placed by hand. I mean, I don't mean that we went out and digged up all the stone and stuff like that, but we didn't have full creative access. We had creative access to getting all the stone and all that, but I mean, when I built this thing, I actually went down here. Hold on, let me turn off fly for a second. We actually went here and we built each one of these things just like this, going straight up all the way to the top until we made it all the way up there, then jumping. I mean, it was a creative server, so we didn't have to worry about fall damage, but you just go all the way up, jump down, and make the next one. And we did that for 44 some odd pillars. And that's not including the interior this way. And wait till you see in here, because that's the impressive part. Okay, let me turn fly back on. Let's go with fly 3 now. We don't have to be at full speed. Okay, so by the way, there's only a village here because when I moved the schematic over to this world, it just generated a village right here. My test world, I like to make sure I have everything that I can test with. That's why you still see mobs And that's why you still see villages, because I want to be able to test with them. So, what else is there? Let's see. Okay. As I said, this is an imitation of the Parthenon in Nashville. I can't remember if that's what it is anymore. And they have a type of thing up here. That's why this is here. There's supposed to be a lighting fixture here. I don't like how it looks, but it was the closest that I could get to it. So here's the main room. Yeah, I know. This is Abraham Lincoln. That's your most striking feature in here. But I'll just address that right off the bat. That's supposed to be a statue of Athena. I didn't feel like making a statue of Athena. And by the time that we got to the part with the statue, there was no more we. There was me. When I say that I had 4 people helping me work on this, there were 4 of us working on this for about a month and a half or something like that, and then pretty much everybody else got sick of it and started moving on to other projects. I worked on this for probably 4 months, and a very good portion of this, I'd say about 50 to 75% of this was actually laid down by hand by me. And after Tassattis left and took his architecture with him, I actually had to start to help design most of this interior. This whole room was basically something that I came up with, and I don't want Athena. Athena's just it's not funny. So I was thinking of other memorials, and well, why not Lincoln, right? So yeah, full size Lincoln. And why is there black? I don't know why, but when it transported it over here, some of the blocks just got derped up. So I've been having to go through every once in a while and fix stuff like, why is there a brown block here? Here we go. See if that's the only one. Yep, there's another one. Maybe I originally used those for measurements. I don't know. I don't think so. In fact, I'm quite certain that I didn't. Anyways, so you just got a nice close-up view of Lincoln, and I love the look of him. But more than that, I really love the look of the rest of this room. These pillars are just incredible looking. And by the way, I don't take one of the things I do the best is copy. And I don't take credit for the design. I just take credit for getting the measurements right. The Parthenon in Nashville, actually, this is what it looks like. You know, just a lot smaller. This is actually about what is it, 10 times scale or something like that? I don't know. It's something absolutely ridiculous. It's either 6 or 10 times scale. But that being said, that is also why I never finished this project. Once you get the ceiling on top of this sucker and get everything all set to go. Let me show you this pattern up here too. I do like this one. And again, all placed by hand. That was a pain in the rear. But once you get all this pattern set up and you get the gigantic view and all this stuff, you develop one of the biggest problems that you get in Minecraft. Let me just go block up this hole up here. I just want to be able to illustrate this properly. This hole is here for a very, very good reason that I'm about to illustrate for you quite well. Remember how in Minecraft you can only light things up 16 blocks away? Maximum. That is the maximum distance that you can light something up. From a glowstone block to 15 blocks away from that, that's the maximum you can light up. Outside of that, if sunlight is dropping straight down, everything that is touching that sunlight will go 16 blocks away. And that's it. Outside of that, there is nothing brighter in Minecraft. And remember how I told you that I had to install single-player commands to show this to you? Well, let me show you what this looks like when I turn off the lights. This command is actually designed for making it so that everything is lit up. So this is what it looks like naturally. That's it. That is what this looks like in natural lighting. And it doesn't matter if it's the middle of the day. You can't see a blasted thing in here. And I'm already going to start having mobs start showing up in here again because you can't keep them out. And this was the biggest issue that I had. That's why you see glass underneath all of these pillars, because I was trying to hide glowstone all over the place. This was one of my first efforts to try to make it look good by keeping the glowstone hidden. And I thought it worked out pretty well, but it still doesn't light it up that much. You can see, look at these back pillars. Look how little distance it goes up here. I mean, there is glowstone all over the place in this room. Look at how much of this is glowstone. And it just doesn't matter. You can't even see that this is Lincoln right now. The only way that you can see this is Lincoln is if it's daytime out and I back out to the door, because it doesn't render the back wall, so that you can see the outline really good. But outside of that, and that's why you have all these torches and all these cauldrons and all that stuff everywhere, because I was just trying so hard to get this to light up. The original Parthenon didn't even have any of this. It was just a straight flat floor of stone, or at least the one that they have in Nashville is like that. And I just had to change it. I had to do the best I could to add lighting. But it didn't matter, because you still can't see anything above the ground. Now, the other option would be if I went through and added torches everywhere, but now I know a lot of Let's Players and stuff like that knock torches. I don't really care if you can see torches everywhere, but in a project like this, it actually does make a difference. And it's not because you see torches all over the place. I wouldn't mind that. I'd make patterns and stuff like that with torches. But keep in mind, this thing is huge. It is... I wish I could remember the scale. I'm pretty sure it's 10 times scale. 10 times scale. This is the size of torches that you would have to use. This. Not this. This looks like somebody's tossed a piece of lit coal on the side of the wall. It looks cruddy. It looks like little just imperfections on the wall. When you're covering, you would have to light up the entire pillar top to bottom. Like, I mean, you think this one's bad? Hold on, we're going to go to the Treasury real quick. I mean, one of the reasons I didn't finish the Treasury is because of this lighting, and that's when I got the real issues. We're just going to go right back there, because you remember being unfinished, I didn't change any of the flooring or anything like that. The only lighting there is at the bottom of the pillars. And we're getting some bad frame rate right now. That's okay, we'll get there. And look at these pillars. You can see these. See how poorly they're lit up. In the daytime, it's not that big of a deal because the light does wrap around there, but it doesn't show over here. This looks exactly the same no matter what the time of day, especially this. We're going to remove this one right here. I think I was doing... this is like my third time recording this, so... And I did make an attempt to light this up. You could see on the edges here, I did all of this. There's glowstone underneath all this flooring here. And then I took out the edging so that it would light up the edges. But it doesn't matter. Just look at this. You remember how cool these things are up on the top without the torches? Yeah, that's it. There's nothing. I was just using these. I was lighting up things for an example before on one of my previous recordings. But this is what this looks like all day, year-round. Doesn't matter what time of day it is. Doesn't matter if it's raining, snowing, whatever in the game. This is what this room looks like. And I actually posted this on Reddit. And I didn't have single-player commands at the time, so I posted it as is, and they couldn't see a blasted thing. I think it got like 16 votes for it. Even though this is one of the most massive projects I've ever seen, and honestly, it's one of the prettiest builds I've seen in quite a while. And, I mean, there's more impressive things, but this is just cool. But it didn't receive any votes because you can't see a blasted thing. Which brings me as to why there's that one block that I covered up here. Get off Lincoln's head. You are not allowed on his hat. Get it. Okay. The reason this hole is here is because so I can show you guys in the daytime what this thing looks like. That is a hole that's right here. So it actually flows straight down across the brim of his head. And when it's daytime, it actually shows up a lot better. Right now we only have a nighttime glow, but you can actually see Lincoln right now, because the moon glow actually reflects off of the air block itself. And I don't know how do I set time? It's like is that it? I can tell how much I mess with single player commands. Time day? Yeah, there we go. Okay. This is what it looks like when that hole is opened up during the daytime. You can actually see it. But in order to light this thing up properly, I would have to put holes all over this beautiful ceiling tile setup, and I just couldn't do it. So that's basically it. That's my favorite build that I've ever done, and one I'm the most sorry that was never really finished. I'll just back up one more time and let you guys see it. And it's funny that I was showing this one right now. It's actually coincidental. Trust me on that. But now that we're going to be starting to work on the arena, this is actually pretty similar to the design that I saw B-Dubs working on. So hopefully I'm able to bring some of my prowess over to that and show you guys a little bit more of what's going on, and maybe get some design aspects of the game working on or worked in. I mean, I've shown you guys I can do an engineering thing. Let's show you guys some pretty looking stuff, I guess, right? But that's it. I've shown you guys all that I wanted to show you guys here. I'm probably going to start working on the donation cannon next, so hopefully I'll be able to show you guys another video pretty soon. But for now, you guys have a good one.